Hello and welcome back to Outside Views, your critical lens on the often unseen ramifications of major political decisions. And today we're plunging into a topic that flows through the very veins of the United Kingdom. The enduring influence of Brexit on British water quality, a complex and evolving story that has unfolded since the 2016 referendum right up to the present day. It's a subject that, while perhaps not as immediately tangible as grocery prices or border queues, touches upon the fundamental health of the nation's environment and the reliability of its vital infrastructure, an issue that has become increasingly prominent in public discourse. Prior to Brexit, the United Kingdom's environmental legislation, particularly concerning water quality, was deeply intertwined with and largely shaped by comprehensive European Union directives such as the Water Framework Directive and the Bathing Water Directive, which provided a robust legal framework and ambitious targets for member states. And these EU-wide standards, often enforced through the European Commission's infringement procedures, served as a powerful mechanism for driving improvements in water quality across the UK, pushing successive governments and water companies to invest in wastewater treatment and pollution control measures, although we know that they circumvented that for quite some time. The referendum in 2016 introduced a period of profound uncertainty for environmental governance, with debates raging about whether leaving the EU would lead to a green Brexit, where the UK could potentially set even higher standards, or conversely, a race to the bottom, with environmental protections being diluted in pursuit of deregulation and economic advantage. Fast forward to the present, and the picture that has emerged is far more nuanced and, in many respects, deeply concerning, revealing a complex interplay of inherited challenges and new pressures exacerbated by the realities of life outside the EU. One of the most significant and widely publicized issues since 2016 has been the alarming prevalence of sewage discharges into British rivers and coastal waters, a problem that, while predating Brexit, has arguably been exacerbated by a confluence of factors, including underinvestment in infrastructure and changes in regulatory oversight. Reports from environmental agencies and activist groups consistently highlight a staggering number of sewage spills, with hundreds of thousands of hours of untreated wastewater being discharged annually, turning many of the nation's beloved waterways into ecological disaster zones and posing significant risks to public health. While water companies often attribute these overflows to an aging Victorian-era infrastructure struggling to cope with increased population and extreme weather events, critics contend that a lack of stringent enforcement and insufficient investment, particularly in upgrading sewage networks, has compounded the problem. The departure from the EU means the UK is no longer subject to the direct enforcement mechanisms of the European Commission or the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice, institutions that previously held the power to impose hefty fines for non-compliance with environmental directives, thereby removing a significant deterrent against pollution. Although the UK has transposed much of the existing EU environmental law into domestic legislation through the EU Withdrawal Act 2018, concerns remain about the potential for future regulatory divergence, with some critics suggesting that the government has been flirting with moves that could weaken existing environmental safeguards. For instance, powers within the Environment Act passed post-Brexit have been criticized for potentially allowing ministers to alter the way chemical water quality is measured, or even to adjust the classification of water bodies, raising fears of moving the goalposts rather than achieving genuine improvement. Beyond sewage, agricultural pollution, particularly from nutrient runoff, containing nitrates and phosphates from fertilizers and animal waste, continues to be a major contributor to poor water quality in rivers and lakes, leading to harmful algal blooms and depleting oxygen levels that devastate aquatic ecosystems. While the UK has introduced new environmental land management schemes to replace the EU's common agricultural policy, which aim to pay farmers for delivering public goods like cleaner water, the effectiveness and widespread uptake of these schemes are still being evaluated, and their impact on mitigating agricultural pollution, that remains to be seen. Furthermore, the capacity of environmental agencies such as the Environment Agency in England to monitor, regulate and enforce environmental laws has come under increased scrutiny, with concerns raised about budget cuts and a potential reduction in their ability to robustly police polluters in the post-Brexit landscape. Reports indicate that the number of serious pollution incidents, though showing some long-term decline prior to Brexit, continues to be a significant issue, highlighting the ongoing challenges in holding polluters accountable and ensuring compliance with environmental standards. A particularly alarming and quite specific Brexit-related challenge has emerged regarding the safety of tap water, with industry experts warning about potential compromises due to difficulties in accessing certified cleaning products and testing facilities. Post-Brexit regulations have reportedly led to the closure of specialized UK laboratories that previously tested and certified chemicals and materials used in drinking water treatment, a critical requirement under Regulation 31 where you need tests to ensure tap water safety. The inability to conduct these essential tests domestically, combined with new restrictions preventing UK products from being tested in EU-certified laboratories, which will ironically share capacity among themselves from 2026, has created a unique regulatory vacuum. And this situation means that new water treatment products cannot be approved for use, and as existing products that require recertification every 5 years cannot undergo necessary retesting, creating a very real and tangible risk to the integrity of the nation's drinking water supply in the long run. Public concern over water quality has escalated dramatically in recent years, manifesting in widespread protests, public awareness campaigns by environmental groups, and mounting pressure on water companies and the governments to address the crisis with greater urgency and more substantial investment. The political will to tackle water pollution appears to be strengthening, driven by this intense public outcry and the undeniable evidence of environmental degradation, leading to government reviews of the privatized water industry and calls for stricter regulation and greater accountability. However, decades of underinvestment in water infrastructure dating back to privatization, compounded by the new regulatory complexities and the loss of EU-level oversight post-Brexit, means that the path to achieving truly clean rivers and safe bathing waters is a formidable uphill battle. The ongoing challenges facing the water industry, including securing the necessary record levels of investment to upgrade aging infrastructure and meet future demands from population growth and climate change, are immense, with estimated spending and the spending needs running into the hundreds of billions of pounds over the coming decades. Ultimately, the enduring influence of Brexit on British water quality is a multifaceted and evolving story of regulatory divergence, infrastructural strain, environmental degradation, and growing public demand for change. It underscores how complex political decisions can have profound, long-lasting, and often unintended consequences that permeate the very essence of a nation's environment and the quality of its fundamental resources. The journey to achieving pristine waters in the UK is far from over, and its trajectory will continue to be shaped by the choices made in this post-Brexit era, demanding vigilance, significant investment, and unwavering commitment to environmental protection. So thank you for joining me on Outside Views for this deep dive into a critical yet often under-examined aspect of the post-Brexit landscape. And if you found this analysis insightful, please remember to like this video, share it with those who might benefit from its perspective, and of course, subscribe to Outside Views for more in-depth explorations of the forces shaping our world. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and always look beyond the surface.